London earlier today outside the city's American embassy and vowed that Islam will triumph and that America will pay for the death of the terrorist leader. And joining me with analysis, former White House Special Counsel Lanny Davis and the author of Because They Hate, the president of Act for America, Brigitte Gabriel. Guys, welcome to the program. Let's start with the photos. Lanny, from a legal standpoint, I think there's a very good chance, but Casey says the same thing, that the administration does not win this battle.
Well, there's a national security exemption in the Freedom of Information Act, and I assume that that's what the Justice Department will argue. But when you have the Department of Defense saying that the military men and women will be endangered by this type of photograph, and when you have the president with an absolute certainty in DNA evidence being able to say that he's dead, I don't think you override your Secretary of Defense on a decision like this, and I think President Obama made the tough call.
This is the decision that they've come to, 4 or 5 days after. That was not what they were saying in the beginning. As a matter of fact, the argument that he made, why they didn't just bomb the compound, was that he wanted proof positive for the world, that he could show the world that, in fact, he was dead.
Well,
Brigitte, let's get your take. Hang on, Brigitte, let's get your take.
It's very important to show the pictures of Osama bin Laden. 50% of the war is won through psychological warfare. The other 50 is through military battle. When we go into a battle with our enemy, we do a shock and awe to shock them and demoralize them and show them that we are going to destroy them. When you kill your enemy, and especially someone, a high-value target like bin Laden, you have to show his picture to demoralize the ranks of Al-Qaeda and send a very strong message to Islamists worldwide. You may hide, you may run, but you will be killed, and you will be killed in a very humiliating way, and we're going to show you how you're going to die.
Lanny?
Well, first of all, to answer your point, Sean, there is absolute evidence that he was killed. If there had been a bomb, that evidence would have been obliterated, namely his body and DNA evidence. So the
Not
reason
necessarily.
that this was, well, if you used the kind of bomb that would have had to explode in that level of explosion, there would have been no DNA left to sample. And the idea of going in with the commandos was to get that DNA evidence, and there is no doubt if he were alive, they can probably say the photo was doctored. And I think
what do you make of? Well, they could say that anyway. But what about?
Of course.
What about the shifting, changing positions of the White House? So, he used his wife as a shield. He didn't use his wife as a shield. He had a gun. He fired. He didn't have a gun. He didn't fire. One thing after another. They can't seem to get their story right. Jay Carney has looked worse than Robert Gibbs, if that was even possible, in terms of him trying to thread the needle and explain all of this. Don't you think we have a right to know?
Well, I've kind of been there, done that about the kind of information that's available to you when a story is breaking isn't always correct. Jay Carney's speaking what he's being told, and Mr. Brennan and other people involved in the Pentagon should have gotten this straight before putting anything out. I think they've admitted to making that mistake, but I agree with you, Sean. This is not that surprising that it takes a while to piece together the story, and the leaks did lead to an
It's not leaks.
impression.
These were definitive statements that have now been contradicted by the same administration, and so it raises. Look, I'm with you. I am 100% certain bin Laden's dead, but I want to send a message to every terrorist. We're going to hunt you down. We're going to find you if it takes 9.5 years or 9 weeks, and we are going to shoot you dead, and this is what you're going to look like. So I think it's in everybody's best interest. We just have a disagreement. What do you make, Brigitte? I'll ask you this. A lot has been made, and there is video of this burial at sea. Now, we're told on the one hand that he is not a Muslim, because he represents a hijacked version of Islam, which believes in 72 virgins in heaven. And yet they go through all this effort to bury him within 24 hours at sea, all these efforts to clean the body, all these efforts to wrap him up, all these efforts, 40 minutes on the USS Carl Vinson, translated into Arabic.
And here is the confusion and the wrong messages we are sending to the world. It shows our enemy that we ourselves are not clear as to who we're fighting and what we're fighting really. The president's talking from both sides of his mouth. He's not really a Muslim, but we give him a burial like an Islamic royalty. And this is what is validating the radical Islamist point of view of their supremacy over the United States and their supremacist ideology, because they are looking at America's behavior and they are thinking, look, look, even Americans subconsciously acknowledge that our religion is superior to theirs, and they must do these rituals in order to honor a falling shaheed like Osama bin Laden. They're using it to their advantage. Actually, that is boosting their morale, and it's making us look weaker. And I wish the president did not do that. That was the wrong move.
Lanny, I think there's something here. There's a hypersensitivity. He's not a Muslim, but he gets full customary Islamic burial. 40 minutes interpreted into Arabic aboard a U.S. warship. Don't you think that's a bit overboard on their part?
Look, you're second-guessing members of the intelligence community and our military when you say that this is.
You think he deserved that, Lanny?
I think that it was a strategic judgment. That was a wise judgment, yes, because it would.
So a terrorist that killed 3,000 Americans whose remains we didn't find deserves a full Islamic funeral, even though they're telling us he's not a Muslim.
You are second-guessing our military and our intelligence community. If you disagree with that,
no, I'm second-guessing the hypersensitivity because there's a naivete in here that they wait a minute. They think that they can reach out and that the Islamic world somehow is going to look at this as a sign of, you know, that we're really not against them when we've never been at war with Muslims, but we've been at war against radical Islamists.
Let me repeat. You're entitled to your opinion, and it's a respectable opinion to guess which way you should go to try to be respectful and let the Muslim world know that. But we have intelligence community and military community people who planned this, not Barack Obama
It sounds
alone,
like appeasement
the entire
to me.
community that Sean Hannity is second-guessing, and you have a right to do that, but I'll respect their judgment. It's not about Barack Obama, it's about the whole community.
You're saying that bin Laden deserved a 40-minute funeral, full Islamic funeral, all customs.
I don't think he deserved anything. I think he's a murdering thug, but I think the strategic
gets a funeral deserving of, as
the strategic judgment by our Defense Department and our intelligence community was, yes,
Lanny, that seems to be your fallback. I think there's
a fact.
Brigitte, do you view this as, do you think the Muslim world that maybe the president was trying to appeal to here, are they going to see this as strength or weakness? I believe weakness.
They're going to see it as weakness and forget respect. The man was a murderer's thug. Why are we respecting him and giving him these rights?
Exactly. No, we're not respecting him. We're making a strategic judgment about not inflaming people that puts our service people at risk. And you can say wrong judgment, but you're sitting in a television studio and you're not in the field of battle.
I come from the Middle East.
And people who are think this was the right decision.
I understand Arabic.